Three Ds in the poor. Hi, ladies and gentlemen.
Very good
I'm the
evening.
Drunken Dad, and we have Amodan and TY.
Why?
Good
Why?
day. Good day to you all.
Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Obviously, it's at night.
everyone. Yeah.
As you can see, we have one party boy, we have one
Party
trying
boy.
to fake the daytime, and we have one in a very original state who just came out from the room making my kids sleep. So it's now kind of late. But we're going to talk about something that's opposite of
Asleep.
asleep. Yeah, I will say
You
that.
can say.
I tried to make it
And
a
then you can
joke,
say.
but then I got stuck. Okay, we're gonna talk about the woke culture today, which is a very
Yeah.
new concept to me. But before that, do we
Mm.
still want to do the dice thing?
Yeah, I think we
Does
should do the dice. It's
You want
fun.
to do, you
it's
want to
just
do that? Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's go
It's
ahead and do the dice
useless.
thing. Okay, come, and then
10 minutes.
to explain
Right.
this concept, it will take around five already, and then each of us contribute 1 minute of our thoughts, and then that's it. Okay.
That's it.
Okay, let's try 10 minutes. Let's try just do 10 minutes, okay? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna talk about the woke culture. Actually, this is a very new concept to me. We're thinking about what to talk about, and then TY actually suggested this. So maybe TY wants to talk more about this woke culture to us. You wanna explain?
Well, I don't have a good definition for it, but I'm just going to jump to the chase. So basically, I watched a YouTube channel on this North Korean deflector, this lady that I sent the previous in our group chat, right? So this you can anyone can easily search it up. North Korean deflector in US commenting on woke culture. It's nothing new. It's been I think 1 year old YouTube content. Well, but so the gist of it is that she was shocked, and one of the comment I remembered very clearly is that it's like America has no big problem. They have to create their own problems. They have to create new problems, Whereas she's trying to, of course, she's referring to places like North Korea. They have a malnourished, lack of food, the political instabilities, and every year, people are dying and everything. People don't have the North Koreans or people from a worse off third world country. They don't have time to talk about subcultures, and they only care about how to make a living, how to feed themselves, that kind of thing, how to get warm clothes on the bags and things like that. So this got me thinking, oh, yeah, that's true. You get this developed country, they talk about work culture, they talk about identity, of course it started off with the LGBT and so on and so forth, and then now in some part of the university in the States, they are arguing people, they are staging protests and doing all sort of crazy stuff. So that's something that started this topic that I would like to share and hear your opinion.
I did a search on ChatGPT to ask what is work culture, and then it comes up with a very long explanation. But in short, there are
Mm-hmm.
some key aspects of work culture. First
Mm-hmm.
is awareness and education. Second is advocacy and activism. Third is inclusivity and representation. Four is challenging norms, and five is call out and cancel culture. And some criticisms of woke culture is one, overreach and intolerance. Number two,
Mm.
performative activism. Number three, impact on free speech. And four, uh, divisiveness or divisiveness. D
Mm.
I
Yeah,
V I S I
yeah.
V.
Divisiveness is being divided, dividing
Divided.
people,
Oh,
dividing people.
yep,
Right.
yep. So yep. So it's a very broad. I think what I can experience from I wouldn't say very obvious because I was in China for a while, right? But I was with youngsters, the young people,
Mm.
for a while, and then I think the idea of the representation is kind of strong as compared to when I was younger, like as
Mm.
compared to my era and my generation. Like
Mm.
they will think that their rights and some of the freedom that they enjoy. I mean,
Mm.
that being said, because I was in China, so when you talk
Mm.
about freedom, it's still
Freedom.
very limited kind of thing. But the freedom of them as a student, what kind of things that they can do, and they are given, right, they protect it quite well. Meaning, for example, let's say last time when teacher say, Ken, you can't do this, she didn't even need to explain to you, right? But now the students will ask you why can't I do
Why?
that? Can you explain to me? Can you give me some reasons why can't I do this? Like, even if they don't because in Chinese culture I feel we are more reserved, right? I
Yeah.
realize that the students these days, even though they don't voice out their opinions in the class, they will later on send email to the management or whatever to voice out whatever they think. Like, yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's exclusively to this work culture, but I think the representation here is a little bit obvious. Yeah.
Mm.
What about then?
Yeah. So just a little bit of background. Woke is quite an old term. It goes back many decades. It's originally African American term that was to try and raise awareness of their discrimination. And it's
Mm.
been now, I mean, general, that ChatGPT definition is pretty good. Originally,
Mhm.
it is trying to raise awareness of discrimination, disadvantage between minority groups, be it racial groups, sexual groups. And, on its face, it's actually a good thing.
A positive, yeah.
Is a positive thing, but as it mentions in that definition, it has kind of been co-opted now, and people are just using it for an excuse to, well, in a way, try and, like, it's a bit like culty now, like people just following the latest trend. It's kind of going along with the latest, what should we all be angry about. Now it's happening on, both spectrums of the political spectrum, in terms of left and right. Both sides are doing it. It's not one side versus the other side. Everyone's doing it. It does show a lack of research. It's just kind of mindlessly, oh, this is bad. We're going to now all group together, and that's the where that word, um, divisive, dividing people. It is actually dividing people. That's the criticism of it. Um, it is a bit ridiculous. One, I suppose the conservatives use it as like a slur, and maybe the liberal people saying, no, this is a good thing. We need to be aware of racial injustice and sexual injustice, be it, gender or whatnot. Um, so it's just dividing people, and actually, some would say, now I can put my tinfoil hat on. It's probably been organized this way because we're ignoring the proper issues in the world. I mean, all this woke stuff is nonsense. It really is not the core of the problem. You know, rich and poor is a problem. The top 1% having all the wealth, and all the rest of us having all the scraps. That is a class system, is a problem more than, say, racial. And that's what I think. I think it started off as a well-meaning thing, but it's turned into something that is being used to divide us, and it's
Yeah.
it's just it's just noise, really.
I during my class, when we talk about how people protest about the environmental related topic, right? I mean, recently we have been seeing those groups spraying paints on the painting, they do display whatever, this kind of thing. Oh, to me, I think that it's like not the same, but similar to what Dan just said. Is kind of go extreme. Like, it started off as being a very well, it's good to call out to people to focus on these kind of problems and stuff, right? Environmental problems and stuff. But it has turned into a very extreme act of extreme
Hmm.
eventually, which is, yeah. And if, imagine the supporters will think that this is a norm. If they start to think this is a norm, then in the future, whatever they will do, right, in order just to get attention to something, they will just do more. They're just being more and more extreme. So
Yeah.
I thought, yeah,
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, there's yeah, you're talking about the Just Stop Oil, because that happened recently with, spraying Stonehenge.
yeah,
And I think it shows actually the people that are really concerned with it are people that have got a lot of time on their hands. Because if you've got a family and you've got kids, you ain't got time to worry about these social justice things. You've got to worry about your family. The best way to do it is think about your unit and then gradually go out like an onion,
Yeah.
right? You start in the middle, you worry about your family, your close family, your immediate
So,
family, and then you go to
so
your neighborhood, you try and do
mhm.
social things in your neighborhood, and then you go out a little bit more when you're
So
comfortable. You
right.
can't be these youngsters that are just sitting in their bedroom going, right, I'm gonna stop oil. Oh really? Okay, good luck with
So
that.
so yeah. So the activists on sustainability, right? Environment. That's been
I,
around. That's
yeah,
the
I mean
easy part.
maybe that's a bit okay.
Yeah.
Let's stick to social
So
injustices. Okay, so we're living in Singapore. It hasn't really the woke stuff hasn't really sucked into here.
yeah.
Um,
Now
why is that?
let's do a hypothetical situation. So let's say, for example, I got a job in this what's that, Walt Disney, all right, and then I'm just a regular conservative Asian. No, I won't say I'm conservative. It's just that my belief is just a regular dude, all right, the right, right, and believe in the typical Chinese cultural stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of younger employees at Disney. They may come from the LGBT group, and then maybe during lunchtime you say something, and then they have something against you, for the thing that you said, and they start to gang out and say, no, this guy is saying things against the LGBT group, then you don't get um, uh, good grades for
Mm,
maybe peer review.
yeah.
All right, and then that will affect your job, and the kind of thing. And then they go online to cyberbully. They put your photos out. Hey, this dude, he's from my company. He's from whichever department. He stays at what address, and then that's his wife, that's a kid, and hey, he say things like that. Okay, so that's me, right? That's affecting the livelihood, right? Even though I have nothing to do with the woke community, for example, right? I can say something as much as they want to have a very liberal thoughts and speech. They when they come to my conservative thoughts and speech, they are not liberal to accept it at all. now, now when that happens, then okay, then the child in school, when they deal with their friends and things like that, of course the cyberbullying. And then let's say this child come from this family who is more conservative, and they maybe he says something, oh well, no, my family believe in male and female, and there shouldn't be an in between. Everything else as an emotional thing has nothing to do with biological gender, for example. Then the student part start to come together and gang out and say, no, this guy is, he's so close-minded, and he's looking down, or he's not accepting LGBTQI and whatever X-Men subgenre out there. So, and that can be a problem. So, and it may not be a direct punch in the face, but they can go onto internet, and then they put in your personal details, they put in your photos of your family. Now that can be a big problem. It's just like amber that's growing somewhere and it's smoking things up. Yeah. Well, it's not so.
Well,
It's not so. Yeah.
What it is, yeah, it is a problem, and I know for a fact. You mentioned Disney. There's many conservatives working for Disney, but they keep quiet.
Yeah. They
They
just keep
don't
quiet, right?
share. In the lunchroom gathering, they
Yeah.
don't say anything. And it is
Yeah.
true. I mean, you're the thing is you're picked up on anything. You could say, oh yeah, I'd like to start with family with I'd like to find a wife and start a family. and then somebody go, "What do you mean find a wife? You can find a husband, can't you? You're
Yeah.
triggering me. You just believe it's a wife. You know that's very how do you say that's very
In
what's the
in
word they use
in
now?
in
Not
insensitive.
It's
yeah
Some
sensitive,
people
right?
they'll just say that you're being
insensitive,
insensitive.
not inclusive language, and it's like okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you shouldn't bring. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, it's not really. I don't know about the corporate world in Singapore, but I think it's bad in UK and bad in America. You know, you got to watch, but it's seeped into the comedy as well. Seeped into comedy. Comedy
Yeah.
now is really comedians can have to watch what they say, and that's not comedy. You're meant with comedy. You're meant to find that line, bring the
Yeah.
audience to that line, and just
It's
sneak
tough, huh?
over it and just push it a little bit, and then everyone laughs, and it's like it's just a joke. But now comedians are really watching what they say. It used and actually this used to be called political correctness. Anyway, it's always been around. It's just getting. I think the dial's been turned up a lot now.
Mm.
In media, in movies, on TV shows. It's and I think we're lucky in Singapore. I think at the moment. I mean, I think you also sent that clip of the ex prime minister talking about
Lee.
it. Yeah, talking about it in terms of what's going on in the West. They're getting
Mm.
oversensitive about little things.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a little bit of work culture. Or rather, that's the thing you see. When we say work culture, right? Do we only define those that has very extreme behavior to be called as work culture, or as long as let's say they do the call out or they do the cancel culture, then it's called work culture. If you are talking about the call out, and like just now Ty mentioned, like if someone being called out and then someone will go and search for the name. Actually, this kind of cyber bully action, it happens in Singapore as well. For example,
Yeah.
someone just do something in the public, then
Mm.
someone took a photo and then shoot.
All the
If
Yeah.
time.
this is defined as work culture, then actually it's
No, I
already in
mean
Singapore.
that's
It,
I
it,
mean that's
it's a
that's yeah that's
it's a
a kind of
subset
sub
of
another
yeah.
step. It's called
It's a cancer culture.
cancel
Mm.
culture. So if you're
Yeah.
you can do anything wrong,
Yeah.
you shout at somebody in the mall, they'll find out who you were and then
Yeah.
dox you and put your name and address on the internet. I mean, it's a different thing. The
Mm.
cancel culture can happen for other reasons, but it can be woke stuff as well. But yeah, it's all kind of interrelated in a way, and it makes with the internet it makes it easier. Social
Exactly.
media and everything. You can find
Mm.
people, find out where they work, and tell the boss, and blah blah blah. But I think if we stick to the woke culture, it's more to do with the current. What is the current thing? As I said before, it's kind of people just mindlessly following the thing that is today. So is it Israel Palestine? Okay, we're for that side, and we're not for that side. They're the bad one. It's all very black and white, isn't it? And then you could say racial inequality, sexual inequality, anything, the new thing. And the problem is when they mindlessly follow one of these tracks, they ultimately get stuck in a web because some of them contradict each other.
Yeah. And well, and earlier you mentioned about keeping quiet, and that's exactly true. You have people, let's say for example, the sites that some people choose to side with the Palestinians, right? So they said no to bombing, stop killing. Israel is evil. Da 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 da. Try to raise money. They criticize. They post thing on social media criticizing Israel and things like that. And 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 if you happen to make a comment on those posts that they post about Palestine, maybe you just try to chat, come up with a discussion, an argument like, oh no, but they attack Israel first, for example. then that will start. They will start a whole barrage of
Mm.
attacks, and then they will take whatever screenshot, whatever you said, and if they are not your friends, if they are just some, if you just happen to comment something online, and that's scary because that's the cancel culture. They just say, oh no no don't this dude,
Mm.
yeah, or this girl, yeah, he supports bombing of innocent child,
Mm. Mm.
just for commenting on the topic.
Yeah.
So it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So just now also we mentioned about the LGBTQ.
Mm.
Um,
I.
that also I think in Singapore it really depends. It really depends. So I do follow some influencers who are gay, and then you will often see their stories that
Mm.
their daily encounter with some of it. I mean I shouldn't say this, but some of this
Mm.
I will think that, are you being overly sensitive? Like maybe, for example, TY doesn't mean that, but you, when you hear it, right, you think that he meant that. But so it's really very hard to judge. You see,
Mm.
if that person whom I accidentally hurt tell me that, sorry, Ken, you just mentioned something very offensive to me, I'll immediately say sorry first. I mean, I don't know, with or without any context, but you see, when I say that, right, it doesn't mean that I'm insensitive. It's just that sometimes the line is really very hard to define. Because some people, they might be okay, some people they might be not. Okay, for example, I have very little Muslim friends. Okay, when I was in radio, I have this Muslim colleague, and then two Muslim colleagues, right? So during puasa time, right, I always joke with them, which is entirely fine. But when you hear it, it might be a bit insensitive. Like during puasa, the very first day, I always ask them, "Hey, jom, let's go lunch." Then they'll be like, "Wow, can stop it." So, but it was a joke. It was like
Mm.
our joke kind of
Between
thing.
friends, it's
Yeah, it
alright,
was a
right?
friend's joke. And like every year during puasa, the very first day, they will expect me to say that. But if we take this out of context, it becomes really insensitive. Like I won't
Insensitive.
just go up to a random Muslim friend and say, Muslim people, and say, "Hey, let's go lunch during
Mm.
puasa." I won't. But because I
Yeah.
see them as friend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, and I find that actually you got to the thing. I think you got to the key word there, sensitivity.
Mm,
People are,
mm,
their levels of being offended by words. The threshold has been reduced for some reason. I don't know why that is. I mean, I don't know how it was like at school, but sticks and stones will break my bones. I mean, it was always kind of like you always, you know, making nicknames for each other and making fun and I don't know. It seems to be like people now get very sensitive. I mean, the comedy thing is just perplexing, but it's what you're doing. It's kind of the workplace banter as well. Yeah, of course. If somebody came in and heard you do that, they go, "Oh my, that's very insensitive." But in context, it's okay. Context wise, it's friends ribbing
Mm.
each other. It's just friendly mockery. It's not. There's no malice. There's no malice behind it. You're not being nasty. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. I it was when recent holiday driving one of these new Korean cars, 4-wheel drive thing, and I
What
haven't
car is it?
driven a decent car for a while. Okay,
Okay.
and the thing is, these modern cars, they just do everything for you, right? If
Right.
you're moving, you're swerving into a lane, it'll go beep 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 beep. It's got cruise control. It basically knows if you're feeling a bit sleepy. It will say, consider taking a coffee break. And it's like, oh my god,
Really?
how you're getting into my head. How on earth,
That's
the
racist. That's racist.
how do
Because
you
they
know,
judge
like,
by the
how do I
by
you
the
know I
size of our
like
eyes.
coffee? Yeah, how do you know I like coffee for a start?
yeah.
No.
What if
And
I'm coffee intolerant? You are being insensitive here.
So I'm just
No,
thinking.
my
I'm
eyes are just
thinking
small. You can't tell that I'm sleepy just
maybe
by
that's
looking at
just a
my
good.
eyes.
Maybe maybe that car is a good metaphor for what's going on here. The
Mm,
world is such a cotton wool world where everything is laid on a plate and people are, dare not say anything wrong, and they're catering to your all your needs, and no one's been told no one's been told to work hard and you know
Yeah, so
uh,
you imagine,
if
it's
if you get knocked down, you got to get up again. You got to try again, and
let's
there are
yeah
losers in the world, and
let's use a very, since modern is here. Let's use a very classic racist command, the N word. I think people in the West are extremely sensitive to this N word.
mm,
Cannot utter that, regardless of the history, and even if they are citing history, they cannot say that N word.
mm,
And again, I was watching content, and then this black dude, he was out to prank his Korean Asian uh, friend. So this black dude went to the Korean shop with this Asian Korean friend. Sorry, I got it wrong. Taiwanese friend. So he went to the shop, and the black dude asked the Taiwanese friend, "How much is that? Is that jacket? Help me ask." So the Taiwanese friend said, 那个外套多少钱? So 那个 is that in Mandarin and in a
Mm,
Taiwanese accent. And then the black dude, he knew that, but he intentionally changed his attitude, and he said, "Bro, what were you talking about? Did you just say the N word?" And then everything was caught on the instant cam and everything. So it was like, then suddenly the Taiwanese dude, "No, dude, no, I didn't mean it." And you can see his expression. He panicked. He really freaked out. He said, "No, no, no, no. I was talking about. I was saying that in my language.
mm,
In Mandarin, with that jacket, 那个." So, and then you have that similar Korean. I saw similar Korean content as well. There's some Korean word that sounds like the N word as well. So,
okay, interesting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So Dan, are you sensitive when, if say you're back? Well, now you're in Singapore, but would you be sensitive when watch what you say when you're back in UK?
I the thing with the way that I've been brought up, I'm actually quite
Mm.
careful what I say, and I don't really want to
We got
go
it
out
wrong.
and offend people. I'm just kind of
Mm.
I let people talk, and I work out where
Mm.
they're coming from. I don't make
Mm.
assumptions. I just I'll let you introduce yourself and talk about yourself. I'm
Mhm.
not. It doesn't mean I just trust everybody. I'm just kind of
Mm.
like I'm wary. I will listen, and uh I don't know. The thing that um, I think I think I'm probably more wary doing this podcast. Like we don't want to be to the censorship of the YouTube. We got to be
Mm.
careful. We could, we're careful with how we word everything.
mm,
Right. No, whatever I just said was in YouTube, and they're doing fine. So
mm, mm. I,
Yeah,
I,
they're,
I
they're great.
think
They're doing a great job. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
Good job.
I think as a conclusion,
Mm.
I think it's fine to be sensitive to people around us, but and also to express what we don't feel comfortable about. But I
Mm.
think they should be aligned, and this line should be a more socially acceptable kind of. I don't know. Actually, that's a bad conclusion. I'm sorry. Let's just scrap that.
No, but I
Since
mean,
we are talking about the
we
work culture, right? I think we shouldn't have a conclusion because we will be
no, we
caught
don't.
out
We
and
don't. No,
cancelled.
I mean,
No, no.
we could anyway. We're probably going to be accused of being
Yeah.
privileged Chinese and
Angmo
white.
and
Yeah,
Chinese
Chinese
and
and the privileged Chinese and white people who can just say this and be ignorant to the
No,
plight of
no, but
minority.
that's something that I want to bring across. I mean, for our listeners or viewers in Singapore, outside Singapore, they may not understand. No, look, we have cultural day in Singapore in schools,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
When I was young, I'm Chinese, but I'm free to wear a sarong
Malay,
Yeah.
Indian,
Malay clothes or Indian
yeah,
Yeah.
traditional cultural clothes to school because it's cultural day and we are
Yeah.
multicultural society, and there's no misappropriation, there's no misrepresentation or stereotyping because we wear it because that looks nice and I enjoy wearing it.
Yeah.
I expect the kind of respect that I'm not making fun of any culture. I enjoy wearing Chinese or whatever. I'm not, but that's not the same in the States. If you're not a Chinese, you can't wear a Chinese
Yeah. Well,
cultural outfit. If you're not Mexican, you cannot wear the poncho and the big hat. What do you call that? What's the big hat? I can't remember now.
uh,
I was like,
yeah, but it's that
yeah,
that's called cultural appropriation, and you cannot. Yeah, in the West, you cannot wear other
right,
people's. You can't use the
right,
hairstyle. You can't wear their clothes.
yeah,
But you're
right,
right. In Singapore, my boy dresses up in an Indian
mm,
right,
outfit, a
exactly. And it's
Chinese
it's cute, and he
outfit.
enjoys it. Why
Yeah,
not?
it's
Yeah,
all a bit of fun, getting to know each other's culture by the fact. And so,
yeah.
see, this for me, I'm glad you mentioned this because this is interesting because I'm thinking, yeah, I want to do this. It was um, I wanted to do something. It wasn't at the school. I think it was at the kindergarten a few years ago.
Uh-huh,
I wanted
uh-huh.
to. I want him to do something British cultural outfit, but
Okay. What's
scratch my
British
head.
culture?
Scratch my head.
Oh, you need
What?
a top hat. You need a
Yeah,
top
top
hat
hat, bowler
and then
hat,
the
or
tuxedo.
the Royal Guard big hat.
Right.
There isn't a the
You
Scots
get heat
have so
stroke
the
to
yeah,
Scots
begin
have a
with.
kilt. The Scots have a
Yeah.
kilt.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so, but England is just it's just jeans and
Top
t-shirt.
hat, tuxedos.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Yeah.
the cultural appropriation. I mean, you imagine that you've got Chinese staff and Chinese Singaporean staff in a Japanese restaurant here,
Mm.
wearing Japanese clothes,
Yeah.
using the language.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's you can't do that in the West. That would be cultural appropriation, surely.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? I don't
Yeah,
know. I've not been to any Japanese restaurant in the West. Do they say "irashaimase"? Do they shout the welcome in Japanese?
I no. They go.
In
They'll.
Singapore, well, it's a Japanese tradition, right? You
Hmm.
step into a Japanese restaurant and they welcome you
mm,
by shouting "Irashaimase." Then everybody shout together, right?
Hmm.
Now, and I can imagine if you're in the restaurant in UK, you have white, you have black, you have Asians, and all the mix. Do they shout welcome in Japanese
Please,
when the
everyone, comment below. Tell us,
yeah?
tell us,
I'm
because
curious.
I haven't been
Yeah.
back to UK for a couple of years, so I don't know.
And there's another discrepancy, double standard. Like I mean, I'm quoting the West, right? You can't let's white. You cannot wear the Asians outfit, but during what's that cosplay?
Cosplay, yeah.
You can wear the Asian stuff. You can do Chun Li. You can wear the mini skirt. You can turn yourself into a sexy vixen and misrepresent a woman and whatever. You can do that in cosplay, but you
Yeah,
can't do a cultural thing. But yet
yeah.
in the cosplay, it's a Japanese thing, and you have
Mm,
that or the German outfit.
yeah,
Sometimes you see the cloak. It's a German. It's a Hitler. What's that word? A Nazi's outfit, but in a
yeah.
in a in a cosplay form.
Mm,
Then you have the Chinese Chun Li. In the Street Fighters. Is that then they have the cleavage and everything. Then they say, oh no, but they don't make such accusation. You can be sexy, you can be sexist in the cosplay, but you can't
mm.
do that in a normal cultural
Well, yeah. I
situation.
mean, you've hit the nail on the head. There's just inconsistencies,
Yeah,
contradictions. There's contradictions everywhere. I mean, that's the
yeah,
good conclusion about the whole woke thing. It's just a
mm.
contradiction. I mean, they're
yeah.
not consistent. They eat
I wonder.
themselves.
Yeah.
They eat themselves in different angles.
I wonder how they travel, right? I mean, they come to the immigration counter and they say, "Excuse me, sir. No, don't call me sir. Call me they." I wonder how they travel. I mean, or maybe they don't travel at all for the
They
woke
get there. They
community.
get triggered. They get triggered, and but
Yeah.
you don't want to be making a fuss at customs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they probably have to stuck it up, right?
Suck that up. You can do the poor old assistant in a chain in a Starbucks. You can hassle them. Poor little intern, 16-year-old serving the coffee. You can have a go at them,
Yeah, but not at
but
the custom.
not the immigration. Yeah.
Yeah, so then this is just this is a cancer society. So they group together and they bully the weak, and then when they come to the immigration, the country who's more powerful than you, that's where no, either I don't, I suck it up, or I don't travel at all, or whatever. So I just think that this whole woke awareness thing is a lot of BS. I say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as we begun, you need to be
And
aware.
BS stands for big situation.
Yeah,
Big situation. Yeah.
there is injustices in the world, but we should be focusing on the important ones, really.
Mm. Okay. Good.
Okay. Thank you, guys. See you next
Thank
week.
you.
Yay.
Bye.
Good job. Good job.